Welcome everyone to this video about supporting people living with dementia through this coronavirus pandemic. I'm joined today by Gina Awad, who's a really well-renowned and respected dementia activist. She's been awarded the British Empire Medal in 2018 and she boasts a health and social care degree. She's a very skilled counsellor and reflexologist, as well as being a dementia activist. Gina's known across Exeter and East Devon for being the founder and leader of the Exeter Dementia Alliance. Now, what we know for Bluebird Care in Exeter, East Devon and Exmouth is that 30% of our customers are living with dementia. With this in mind, Gina's really kindly agreed to provide some helpful guidance and insight to support people living with dementia and those caring for people living with dementia. So Gina, the first question that comes to mind is, how best would you advise people to communicate to the person living with dementia about coronavirus?
First of all, thank you so much for inviting me to talk to you today. I think, Will, what we have to remember is that everybody in the stage of dementia can be at different stages. So we need to be mindful of that. So we need to be adaptable. But I think the foremost response I would say to that, it needs to be simple and factual. So something like, we are living with a global virus that can make people very poorly and even die, because that's a reality. So we need to stay at home. Things will improve. This is temporary. So, we are safe. So saying to that person, you're safe at home. I'm looking after you. And it's about reassurance. I think that's really important, Will.
And interesting what you've done there as well is you haven't avoided it. You haven't lied about it. You're encouraging people to be very honest and upfront about it.
I think that's really important. And I sort of juggle with that in my head, thinking, should we say it? Should we mention that people die? But they are. And the reality is, if I allude to that and don't share that, and people are watching the news, it's going to make me look a bit fraudulent, really. And it's a reality. It's a harsh reality. And we need to be honest, but do it in the most simplistic way that we can.
Yeah. And I wonder, Gina, if one of the really difficult things to understand would be about the self-isolation at the moment. Now, what advice can you give to people around their daily routine and how they could put one into place when they're supporting someone living with dementia?
Well, I think daily routine is vital. It's vital for people living with dementia, it's vital for carers, and it's vital for you and I. It's vital for everyone. And that can be really simple. I mean, what I've done in my kitchen is I've written on a piece of flip chart paper, my daily routine. Obviously it adapts, but it kind of just helps give focus. So it's like it's expressing it. We know that we have a routine, but I think particularly in this time, we need to be more, hyper-vigilant about that. So it might even be stating that you're going to have your breakfast. And, people have mid-morning snack or whatever to put that down. It might be that, connecting with family. I think that's really, really important. We have this technology at the moment, aren't we? With Skype and FaceTime and WhatsApp, and it's great. And I think a little example for you is I've got a lady who's actually a friend of mine, and she's a carer. She cares for her husband who lives with dementia, and his routine was every day, 6-7 days a week, he would go to the local village pub. He would go there for a couple of drinks, and he would chat to the people there and his friends, and have a really nice time. It's a really important part of his day. Obviously, he can't do that now.
No.
So what I think is the friend is created, which I think is wonderful, is at that same time every day at 5 o'clock, she will take him into a different room, and she will, pour him a drink, whatever his favourite tipple is, and then organise for him to connect with a family member or a friend. He might not know exactly who he's talking to in that moment. It really depends how he is in that moment.
Yeah.
But there's a connection, there's a sense of doing, there's a sense of being, and there's a sense of that environment that is different, and difference is part of dementia, but meeting that need. And I think that's really, really wonderful.
And what I find interesting in your answer there is that you're promoting kind of punctuating activities perhaps by a change of scenery, which is one of the challenges when you're isolating, but you think that could be quite helpful actually.
I think that's really, really helpful, Will. for us all, actually. I mean, we're working from home, so that's the thought, is to think about, you know, we're working from home, we need to sort of step away from that, and I find that quite hard. I find that really hard. Whether it's sort of changing clothes, you know, wearing something that you'd be wearing for work even though you're working at home, and then when it's time to finish that part of your day, then you change into something else. So simple things like that can make big differences.
Yeah, amazing. Finally, the well-being of carers, of course, is massively important at this time. What advice can you give specifically for carers?
Carers, it's tough. I'm going to be totally honest about it. I've spoken to a lot over the last few weeks. Some of them are struggling more than others. Some are adapting particularly well because they feel that they're in their bubble, they're safe, and they're just keeping their shielded together. I think one of the important things is to think about to reach out to community. Carers often find it difficult to reach out because they think they should be Superman, Superwoman, doing everything they can, but actually they have needs, and it's really important for them to have a routine and to be able to, you know, obviously care for that partner, but also they've got to think about themselves, because if they leave themselves at the bottom of the list, they won't be able to care. It's like pouring from an empty cup, isn't it?
Yeah.
And one example, Will, is again another carer. Every week she'd have go to a Pilates session, and I was able to be at home, or his local befriender would be there. She'd love to do that. Obviously, she can't do that.
No.
Pilates has organised for a Zoom, as we're doing today.
Yeah.
So other people that are doing Pilates and the teacher are coming together on Zoom once a week, and I think that's wonderful. So again, it's about having routine, connecting, and really reaching out to your communities. There's some amazing work and stuff going on in the communities, as you know, because you've been doing a lot of it yourself. Connecting and caring for others. You know, we need to remember we're not alone in this, and together we are strong.
And again, picking up on something you said there, it's about connecting with people, but going back to your first answer, also being honest, probably about how you feel. Would you recommend?
Totally. I think being saying that I'm not having a good day, and I think that's a really important point, because one day can be horrendous, but then there's a new day, and I have that. You know, one day I can feel really down and think I'm not being effective. I need to be out there doing what I do, which is social action in the community. I can do it, as it's more difficult for you as well, though your work's different. But we need to adapt, and I think, you know, we need to understand that each day is new, and think that this soon will pass.
Yeah. Well, that seems like a really great place to end this short video. Gina, thank you so much for your time. I know you wanted to end with a really powerful quote.
I did, and it's by Pablo Cassis, and it's, I feel the capacity to care is the thing which gives life its deepest significance. Thank you.
Amazing.
Will.
And I think we're all learning that at the moment. So Gina, thank you so much for your time, and thank you so much for your capacity to care.
Yeah, thank you. You're welcome, Will. Thank you.